What's going on, guys? We are back with another episode of X-Men 97, and the momentum of this show has been holding steady so far. But there's a lot to unpack from this latest episode, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Now, the first thing I want to touch on from episode 7 is Nimrod. After Rogue used her powers to look through Henry Garrick's memories, we got a quick glance at Nimrod. Nimrod is an advanced sentinel created in the future and sent back in time to hunt Rachel Summers after she attempted to sabotage the Nimrod project. For those of you who didn't watch the original X-Men animated series, Nimrod actually made a few appearances, and he's important for what I'm going to talk about in a second.
It's Nimrod!
You mean that itty-bitty soup can? Give me 5 seconds.
So after coming into contact with what was left of the original Master Mold, Nimrod basically bonds with it and transforms into this giant robot. Now, a Master Mold is basically an artificial intelligence created by Bolivar Trask to make Sentinels. So the X-Men battle this robot, and what ends up happening is they push it through a magical gateway using what's known as a Siege Perilous, and this ends up creating a man. This man becomes the character known as Bastion, who made an appearance in episode 7. Now, Bastion might look like a man, but he's really an android. Remember, he's the result of Nimrod, an advanced sentinel, merging with a Master Mold. So Bastion is the main antagonist of a storyline called Operation Zero Tolerance, where the US government essentially hunts down every single mutant with extreme prejudice. Now, going back to episode 7 of X-Men 97, you might notice the acronym OZT on these guys. That is Operation Zero Tolerance. So Bastion is born from the merging of Nimrod and the original Master Mold. And what happens is he helps the US government create a new Master Mold that would create human Sentinel hybrids. See, Bastion had the idea that in order for Sentinels to truly protect man, they needed to become man, and they call these Prime Sentinels.
Trask has mutated into some sort of
human Sentinel, okay?
Prime Sentinel Protocol activated. Terminate mutants.
Now, to give you guys some context, around the 1960s, the US government and other intelligence communities started having discussions about the existence of mutants. Their argument was that we have these individuals with extraordinary abilities living among us, and at any given moment they can decide to use their powers to rule over the human population. If you guys remember Days of Future Past, when Trask made his argument to the president about why Sentinels are necessary, it's basically that.
He has the power to control metal. Last I checked, that's what most of your weapons were made of. And she can transform into anyone. A general, a secret serviceman, even you, Mr. President. She could walk into this office and order a nuclear strike if she was in the mood. And that's only 2 of them.
So they formed what's known as Project Wide Awake, which was an operation where they quietly monitored the activity of mutants in society. In fact, Henry Garrick, who I mentioned earlier in the video, was the head of Project Wide Awake in the comic books. So with Project Wide Awake in full effect, the US government and company could now monitor anything involving the mutant population. So in a way, it's like a psyop, because we know the X-Men are good guys and they save humanity from time to time, but most of the public doesn't. And with Project Wide Awake, the powers that be could control that narrative. So what happens further down the line is a human rights activist known as Graydon Creed was killed. And this was the catalyst for Operation Zero Tolerance to be put into effect by Robert Kelly, who was president at the time. Now, in episode 7 of X-Men 97, Cyclops is talking to Robert Kelly, who happens to be president.
I'm playing politics here to ensure someone less kind to your cause doesn't end up in the office you're so quick to disrespect. Be patient, Scott.
Check the headlines, Mr. President. They're all about the virtue of patience.
So with that being said, all the pieces are already in place for Operation Zero Tolerance to be put into effect. All that's needed is the right catalyst, which brings me to the attack on Genosha. I think the attack on Genosha was done in order to get a retaliation response from the mutant population, specifically the X-Men. And that brings me to Cable, who also made an appearance in this episode.
Trask got it wrong. Sinister's working for someone else, someone worse. And if you X-Men don't stop him, there won't be much of a future worth living in.
In the comics, Cable encountered Bastion in the future, which is how he found out about Operation Zero Tolerance. So in X-Men 97, that's probably how he knew about Genosha, and that Sinister was working for someone else. so he went back in time to warn the X-Men. So to sum it up, if Bolivar Trask helped Sinister create a new Master Mold and Sinister is working for Bastion, then Bastion was most likely responsible for the attack on Genosha. And my theory is that Bastion orchestrates that attack to get the X-Men to retaliate. Robert Kelly is already president, so if the X-Men were to retaliate in any way, he would put Operation Zero Tolerance into effect. They already have the troops and the Master Mold needed to create the Prime Sentinels, which I explained earlier, and from episode 7 we've seen just how powerful these Prime Sentinels are. So this is my theory, but I want to know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.